Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Great to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. Time for the quarterfinals over in China today. As always, we'll be sure to go through each and every one of these matches that we've got. Get your comments in with your predictions. Anything that I'm taking personally will be in that pinned comment where it always is. Feel free to take a look at that. Do with it what you please. Take it if you want. Leave it if you must. It's entirely up to you. But do like the video if you be so kind. Get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Appreciate it if you got yourself involved. We continue to grow each and every day. It would be an honour to welcome you to the team. Now that's out the way. Quick recap. Time for the recap. Not the best day for me personally on the tennis. Fell victim to a very, very cruel twist of fate. First legs came in on both of them. Then I had to watch Sebastian Korda win the first set and piss it away. And then the same for Gio and Pecci Pericard. So yeah, no dice for me. Unfortunately so close, but yet so far. But it wasn't all doom and gloom, because as you may or may not have noticed, there was a small slither of redemption for me in the form of the Egyptian king. That's right, Mo Salah, for the shot on target. Was never in doubt about that. So like I said, only the loss of the one unit. I can most certainly live with that. Absolutely soften that blow. You can always trust in the Reds, can you not? But get yourself involved. Did you win? Did you lose? Did you come close? Most importantly, did you enjoy the matches? And we'll waste no more time. Let's get right into business. Let's get it on. Right, so it's going to be Christopher O'Connell and Alejandro Tabilo. I'm looking forward to this one. I'll be going with Tabilo. I think Tabilo gets this one done. He's coming in hot. He's coming into this one blazing hot. Got to the final last week on the Challenger Tour, and he remains in decent form over on the main draw. He dropped just one set last week, and he's dropped just the one this week, and that was in qualifying. No one's been able to touch him. No one has come close to dealing with Tabilo so far in the main draw. How's Christopher O'Connell going to get on? These did play each other last week over in the Challenger Tour in the semi-final. Now, Christopher O'Connell had to pull out of that match. He played 3 games. He pulled out. It's a damn shame how that match would have went, providing all was well. I couldn't really tell you. Tabilo did go on and lose the next match in the final, but that's neither here nor there. I think Tabilo looks well better. He looked decent on the Challenger Tour. It kind of came out of nowhere. This has really come out of nowhere. He looked good. He was serving well, but then coming over to Chengdu, I can't help but notice he's made some massive improvements to the serve. Now, whether he's just found another level, I'm not too sure. I think, I could be wrong, these quick courts may have just come into play on the first serve percentage for a few of these players. I mean, they're dangerously fast. I don't know for a fact. I don't know where it would stand on, let's say, like a chart or an index, but I'd be willing to guess that this court over here, specifically in Chengdu, is one of the quickest that we've got on the tour at the moment. Dangerously quick, and it seems to be doing wonders for the first serve of Alejandro Tabilo. For reference, just really quick, last week on the Challenger Tour, you're talking mid-50s to mid-60s. This is the first serve going in, by the way. And then come over to the main draw, you're talking mid-70s to mid-80s. Now, depending which way you look at it, it's like a 15 to 20 in some, in case of some matches, like a 25% increase. That is one hell of an increase. Is it another level? Is it the speed of the courts? Either way you cut it, it's working for him. It's working for him, and I like the look of it. And I thought it may have just been the courts, and I thought I'd check out on Christopher O'Connell as well. He was sitting around mid-50s to mid-60s last week on the Challenger, and he still remains around mid-50s to mid-60s on the first serve going in as well. So maybe it's not the courts. Maybe it's not the courts. I don't know. It shall remain to be seen. Couple of concerns regarding the fitness of Christopher O'Connell. 3 retirements in the space of a month doesn't bring me full of confidence. That walk over to De Minaur, retired against Bautista Agut and Winston-Salem, and like we say, they're pulling out against Tabilo, man. It's not promising. It's not very promising at all. Not many people have come close to that first serve of Tabilo this week. Not at all. Christopher O'Connell kind of had to go to war against Quinton Hallis. Had a very easy game against So. How's he going to fare against the blazing hot Tabilo? I'm not too sure. If you can't make a decision, I suppose I'll leave you with this and then we'll move on. The only thing that's kind of swaying this for me is one of these two. I could be wrong, but I don't think Christopher O'Connell hits these lefties very well, if at all. As a matter of fact, I've got Christopher O'Connell 0-5 this year against left-handed players, and I've got Christopher O'Connell 0-9 against left-handed players in the last year. That's right. 0-5 this season, 0-9 within a space of a year. He hasn't beat any of them. He hasn't beat any of them. And if that's not enough, I think if Tabilo wins this match, that's him back in the top 100. That is huge, huge, huge for Alejandro Tabilo. Is that not something we're fighting for? If that's not something we're fighting for, then I don't know what is. Give me Alejandro Tabilo to see this one through. Right, so the next one is Marcus Giron and Brandon Nakashima. I think it has potential. It has potential to be a decent match. Head-to-head is 2-1 to Brandon Nakashima in this spot. These haven't seen each other since 2022. Every time has been on the hard court as well. I think it could be a close game. To my surprise, I'm seeing Brandon Nakashima around 1.4. Now, maybe I did expect him to be just a slight favourite, but maybe not that big of a favourite. A matchup like this will always feel like somewhat of a coin flip to me, especially what we've received from both players so far the past couple months, or even since we've returned to the hard court. Marcus Giron, we've been saying, well, pretty much up until this week, he's been well off the boil. He couldn't even win matches. He was on one hell of a stinker after Wimbledon, prior to the US Open. Kind of got himself back to winning ways. He's won 3 of his last 5. It's a hell of a lot more than what he's done the past couple months, so I'll give him that. And he's looked decent. He's looked decent over in Chengdu, I will admit. Didn't give him much of a chance based on what I've seen, but he's looked good. All you can do is prove me wrong. I'm not against that. I love a bit of redemption. Ethan Quinn was too easy for him. And then Lorenzo Sonego, I thought may have posed a bit more of a threat than what he did. No, light work for Marcus Giron. Tip of the cap, mate. Happy days. Well done, lad. He needed wins. Needed wins. Is he back to winning ways? Maybe. He's certainly doing a lot more of it the past week or two than what we've seen the past month or so. So I'll give him that. But Brandon Nakashima, although he's been, to say he's been a little bit more consistent, I take it lightly. He has been a bit more consistent since we've returned to the hard court. But this guy is struggling to win back-to-back games. As a matter of fact, not only can he not win back-to-back games, we're talking back-to-back second round exits for Brandon Nakashima. Now, he's just won the first match quite convincingly against Jerry Shang as well. How much Jerry Shang had left, I'm not too sure. He looked alright against Zizou Bergs. There's quite a lot of injury issues and injury concerns surrounding that kid, so maybe there's a couple of excuses that could be made. But you can't take nothing away from Binak. He looked good. We kinda knew he'd beat him as well. It is what it is. He's a better player. Is Marcus Giron going to make it 3 in a row? Is this just going to come out of nowhere? He's went from not winning at all, said no one can beat him. Maybe, just maybe. He's looked good enough. I'll give him that. He's looked good enough this week. Binak did look strong against Jerry Shang, but he's just got to win that second game. He's got to win this game now. Get yourself back-to-back wins. He hasn't done that since Washington. Well, that's the first one back, isn't it? It's a tough one. Can't help but disagree with the 1.4. I probably would give the slightest edge to Binak. I think it's quite a contrast in styles. I think you get a bit more of a counter-punchy style from Marcus Giron. I think Binak is in a position to be, a bit more aggressive. Definitely has the power advantage, I'd say. Given the quickness of these courts as well, I would probably have to side with the power advantage and the aggressor in this one, even if it's just slightly, ever so slightly. I think Binak should be, maybe not should be, but it's the slightest lean, the slightest of leans, maybe an over. We could be in for an over. Lean towards an over, lean towards Binak getting this one done, but at 1.4, I can't get there. I cannot get there on that number for Binak today, folks, I'm afraid. 2.8 for Marcus Giron. That's not even tempting me. Is Marcus Giron going to continue the run of form? Will Binak get himself a back-to-back win? I'll let you decide. But like I said, I'd lean towards an over, lean towards Binak getting it done. It really does feel more like a coin flip as opposed to a 1.4 and a 2.8 dog. I don't know about you. That's just my opinion. Right, the next one is going to be Lorenzo Musetti and Nicholas Basilashvili. It could be a good one. Could be a decent match. We've seen this a few times before. Running it back from Wimbledon, I think things are going to be slightly different this time around. I don't know about you. I was fairly impressed with Lorenzo Musetti against Dino Prismic. He did drop a set, but it was a fairly high level. You know, very fine margins in a match like that. Not a lot of room for error. He took the first set, dropped the second, and he looked fantastic in the third. Love to see it. I really do. Basilashvili continues to win. He looked good in qualifying. Funnily enough, he's looked even better in the main draw. He really has. Sakamoto in 3, Bernard Tomic in 3 in qualifying. Like we mentioned, he did have to come back from a breakdown against Bernard Tomic to see that one through. But then he played Billy Harris. It was supposed to be Baez, got that one done. And then I think he put in his best performance so far over in Chengdu against Mackenzie McDonald in the round of 16. Didn't face a single break point. Came out and absolutely annihilated him 6-2. And then a tiebreak. Strong. Very strong indeed. Now, these have played each other, 3 times before? Like I said, we've seen it this year in Wimbledon. Different circumstances. Very different indeed. The previous times were in 2022. One on the grass for the Georgian, and then one in Paris for the Italian. Over in Wimbledon, you know, big layoff, weren't it? A month-long injury layoff for Lorenzo Musetti. Kind of, in hindsight, we can kind of say that just took all the wind out of his sails, didn't it? He was fantastic leading up until the semi-finals with Carlos Alcaraz, and he was even good in that as well. He was playing really good. He pulled out, and then, like I said, month off, turns up to Wimbledon, new surface, all the momentum gone. Basilashvili just toyed with him. He really did. 6-2, 4-6, 7-5, 6-1. I'm probably going to go with the narrative that Musetti was just well off the boil at that point. Well off the boil. And even after that, coming back to the hard court, kind of had to ease his way back in to winning ways. He went 1-3. Norrie beat him, Michelson beat him, Bonzi done him. The only person he'd beaten was James Duckworth. Kind of snapped back into form right in time for that US Open. Perfect timing as well, because he had a great run over in the US Open, bumped into Jannik Sinner in the quarterfinals, and now we're back in Chengdu. And it's no surprise that he's playing well again. I would like to sit here and assume that Musetti is back to fitness, back to himself, even though he's not exactly a hard court specialist. He is top 10 in the world now. And I think whatever he excels at on the clay, the majority of it, if not most of it, probably translates well to the hard court. He's one of the very few, in my opinion. 12-8 on the season. It's quite good. It's very good indeed. What was Basilashvili on? 15-10. Calibre of opponent that they tend to face is usually night and day. Like we said in the previous video, the last time Musetti got beat by anyone outside the top 100 would have been against Nicholas Basilashvili over in Wimbledon. And like we said before, I think things are just a little bit different coming into this one. I thought Lorenzo Musetti served very, very well against Dino Prismic, very well indeed. As a matter of fact, I've got it up here, one sec. Where was the percentage? Bear with me one moment. 75%. I was happy with that. It's kind of, it was a lot better than what I expected. It was a lot better than what we've seen in any other of these matches since we've come back to the hard court. 75% going in, 81.5% won on the first serve, and then 55 on the second. 75's good. Is that sustainable? Maybe, maybe not. It is Musetti. He's very good. I wouldn't put it past him to be able to replicate that. Basilashvili, not so much, although he has looked fairly dominant. Not getting anywhere near those type of numbers. Low to mid 50s. There's a 60 in there against Billy Harris, but I'd love to sit here and say there's room for improvement, because I suppose there is. But I'm looking back to the start of Wimbledon, and Nicholas Basilashvili hasn't been hitting anywhere near those numbers on the first serve. It's 40s and 50s and 40s and 50s, and I'm not saying it's going to be the same coming into this one, because like I said, there is room for improvement. But from going from like 47%, 43%, 53%, trying to get yourself an extra 20 out of nowhere, it's a bit of a tough task. It may not be needed, but I don't know. Lorenzo Musetti doesn't exactly strike me as the type of player that you're going to be able to beat on your second serve, especially at this level. Absolutely not. Basilashvili is 10 years. He's 10 years older than Musetti as well, so maybe the fatigue may be more of a factor in this one for the Georgian than the Italian. He's played more games, so we could sit there and go, he is in a much more of a rhythm. That's a fact. That is a fact, and it definitely means something over in this Asian swing. I think Musetti should do him. With all that's been said and all that we know, and even though it looked like he absolutely hammered him last time in Wimbledon, we know he was struggling with injuries and whatnot. I'd like to think he's back to himself now. And he's a massive favourite. He is a massive favourite coming into this. What is the price, you may ask? 1.35 for the Italian. Maybe that tells you all you need to know. Now, I'm expecting a little bit, maybe a fair decent chunk of cash to come in on the Georgian overnight because, it's the price in it. He's like an over a 2-1 dog. People will just take that for the sake of it. I do believe Musetti will probably win this one. He is the better player. And like I say, it's revenge spot. Revenge spot. Would you be surprised to see him get through to the next round? No. Got to the final last year. Semi-finals the year before that. I think he might be good for another run this year. I really do. Give me the Italian. I'll be taking Lorenzo Musetti to get this one done, folks. Right, so the last one's going to be Taro Daniel and Alexander Shevchenko. Not a lot to be said. Not a lot to be said about this matchup, I'm afraid, folks. Certainly no business to be done from my end on this one. I've been impressed with the pair of them. Quick tip of the cap to both of these players. Me personally, I did not give either one much of a chance, if any chance at all, prior to this tournament, especially Taro Daniel, man. I mean, you can't blame me. You can't blame me. I ain't seen anything prior to this. Come through qualifying, flew through it. Turned up against Wong as a big dog in the first round. Made that one look easy, just smoked him. And then he turned up as equally a same-sized dog against Tallinn Griekspoor in the round of 16 and pulled off the upset, if you will. Although, even though he said in yesterday's video, I hated the play, but based on what we've seen and what we know, it had to be Taro Daniel. It had to be. It really did. Well done if you took him. I weren't so convinced he was going to win. I was just more convinced that I couldn't trust Tallinn Griekspoor. So yeah, happy days if anyone managed to get anything on that. He was a decent price too. Continues to win, he's serving well, and he's playing just as good too. Alexander Shevchenko, man, I mean, look, getting past a 78-year-old Gael Monfils due to retirement doesn't mean much to me. And then that win against Gio, excuse me, I'm not going to talk about it too much. I could talk about that for hours. I really could. I could do a whole separate video on that match alone, believe me. He deserved to win. He deserved to win. He done exactly what he needed to do. And it weren't much in the end. I knew it, you knew it, Shevchenko most definitely knew it. All I need to do is just wait this out. And one bad service game from Etcheverry card, and it's done. It's done. This guy can't break anything. This guy couldn't break wind, honest to God. 0 break points. 0 break points, 2 tiebreakers and a 6-4. 3 sets, not a single break point. What the fuck is that? That's half a player. I'm sorry to say it. The service game out of him is potent. It's fucking lethal, but it's clearly not enough, is it? It's clearly not enough. Evidently so. But like I said, Alexander Shevchenko, he deserved to win because he can fashion a break. He can find himself, maybe not many, but he can at least, amongst all the chaos of them service games of Gio, he can fashion himself a couple of break points and get himself a chance at winning this match, I don't know. Do we think Gio should maybe, I don't know, is it that bad yet? Do we think this is like, if this was anyone else, would we be saying, this is like Challenger Tour worthy? Maybe go to the Challenger for a month or two, get yourself some confidence, maybe get yourself a coach that can actually play fucking tennis with you and teach you how to return. I don't know. I'm not too sure what the answer is for Gio and Etcheverry, but it was a horrendous performance. It was disgusting, to say the least. I felt very hard done by, especially with Musetti winning that first game. I felt like that was a very cruel twist of fate. But fair play to Shevchenko. Fair play to Shevchenko. Like I said, he done what was needed. Although in hindsight, what was needed weren't exactly much. The odds are split right down the middle. Split right down the middle. I've got nothing for this. I think this could go over. Both of them seem to be playing as good as one another. Me personally, I didn't see this coming from either one. Didn't see it coming from either one. And it feels like as the week's going on, my expectations of watching these replicate said performance kind of gets less and less. So I'm not too sure who's going to turn up, who wants this one the most. I'll let you decide on that. Right, so next one, Moutet and Etcheverry. I think I would have to go with Etcheverry on this one today, folks, and I feel like you all know why. That game against Artikazou, that would have taken a toll. I would have to assume that would have taken a toll on our Moutet. Nearly 4 hours, 3 hours, 15 minutes. I mean, in the best of three, two tie breaks and a 6-3. How the fuck's it went that long? That's absolutely nuts, if you'd ask me. But look, it was a decent performance. One hell of a match. Fair play to Moutet. He's been brilliant this year. I love watching him play. I really do. How much are you going to have left? No way you're going to be 100% after that. No way. Especially against this version of Etcheverry. He's been smoking everyone. He's made light work of everyone. Demir Juma and Dinky, both in straight sets. I mean, look, you take from that what you will. I know they're not exactly the highest caliber of opponents, especially on the hard court, but it is what it is. I don't think Moutet can afford to be a bit worse for wear. You know, if he turns up absolutely goosed from the previous match, I can't help but think Etcheverry will take advantage of that. And the one thing that's kind of putting me off this one, and it's kind of making it as quick as it is, yeah, you probably noticed yourself as well, this money line for Etcheverry is getting absolutely hammered. It's been absolutely caned since this line's dropped. This opened around split down the middle, call it somewhat split down the middle, getting Moutet around 2.3. I'd say hammered the money line. I don't know how I feel about taking Etcheverry sub 1.7. I would have liked to have taken him if I'd have caught it around 1.9 or whatever it was when it opened. I do believe he's going to be the fresher, fitter. You know, he's probably going to be just in a better spot to go out and win this one. A lot of money coming in. And it continues to come in as well. Now, look, if these would have played each other on the hard court any other time this season, especially as of late, I probably would have said Moutet. As a matter of fact, if these would have played each other in the first round, I think I would have went with Moutet. But that's neither here nor there. They have played each other twice before. That's right, played each other twice before. Both of them have come this season. Both of them on the clay, Monte Carlo and in Rio. Both of them went the way of Etcheverry, so maybe it will translate over to the hard court. I think if there's ever a time to make it three in a row on the head-to-head, it's probably now against if anything. He's not going to be 100% Moutet, there's no way. If anything, this guy will be just a bit gassed. Just a bit. Do we think just a bit? I don't know. I can't see him being in perfect shape for this one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much of a toll that match would have taken on Moutet. It would be Etcheverry or nothing for me. And that one is Valentin Royer and Tien. I'm looking forward to this. Could be a decent match. I think both of these have been fairly impressive so far this week. You've got to give it to Valentin Royer, I suppose, folks. I mean, coming through qualifying, taking out Kovacevic, even though he was slightly favoured to do so. You know, I was quite surprised that he was a favourite, as that one opened 1.7, I think it was, to be precise. But in hindsight, I suppose it kind of makes sense. You know, he was too much for him on the day. And then, look, probably the biggest win of his career so far. Andrei Rublev is that. I'd probably say that was the best win of his career. Fantastic performance. Really good first serve. Fantastic serve. It's what I've noticed from the Frenchman here. Look, I don't want to take none away from him. Kovacevic has been fucking horrendous since Mexico. Hasn't left Mexico. He's still there, apparently. And then Andrei Rublev. I mean, Rublev turned up to this one a 1.25 favourite and not even winning the set. I'm sorry, but that is the most Rublev thing I've ever seen in my life. Most Rublev thing that I've ever seen. How much can I read into those wins? I'm not too sure. I don't want to take anything away because it's fantastic and it's probably the best run of results he's ever had. But there's excuses to be made, most definitely. Tien, I mean, look, it weren't easy against Navone, even though he'd been beat by him before. Dropped the first set, managed to come back. Once he gained control against Navone, he didn't lose it. And then the game against Julio Zeppieri looked even better. Relative ease. I thought Zeppieri may have posed a bit of a threat with that big save, and it didn't make a difference. We said that Zeppieri is just the type of player that Tien should be beaten, and more often than not, he does get past the type of competition that we think he should, and that's exactly what he'd done. I'm kind of sitting on the same one with this as well, you know. I mean, I think Valentin Royer, the serve is what stood out to me. the big save. I thought Etcheverry may have been able to trouble Tien with the save, but he didn't. He really didn't. And I feel like if you can deal with that, you should definitely be able to deal with the save of Valentin Royer. And if Valentin Royer is going to be able to save better than Tien, which we said in the previous one, the first save of Tien, it leaves a lot to be desired. It really does. But if anything, he's probably going to do everything else better. Everything else. And he managed to deal with the save of the Italian. I would like to roll a dice and say he's going to be able to manage the save of Valentin Royer. And if he does manage the save of Valentin Royer, I imagine he's going to win this match at tennis. So, like, what is the price? You may say 1.6, nearly 1.6. I'll have that, I think. Might have a little bit of that. You're going to have to go now as well because people are taking it. A little bit came in on Royer. It got to 1.6 and it's going back down. So call it 1.55 to 1.6 if you are very lucky. I might take a little piece of Tien once again. He's been doing good for me this week. I might go back to the well. I think he gets it done. If Tien is going to be the player that we all believe he can be, I think he wins this game today. 54 in the world against the 88th in the world. Yeah, give me Tien. Give me Tien. I'm not going to overthink this one too much. 1.6. Yeah, go on. Why not? That would be the play for me. Right then, folks. Two more. I'm going to speed run these two really big favourites. First one is going to be Alexander Bublik taking on Svrcina. It has to be Alexander Bublik. It just has to be. Now, I know he dropped a set to Alexander Vukic. You know, history has told us that those two tend to have, you know, fairly tight games. He dropped a tie break in the first set. He probably could have won that in straight sets, you know, if he'd just tightened up. But look, he never really looked like losing. I was never in doubt that he was going to win that match. However he wanted to go about his business was always going to be up to him. Svrcina's looked really good. He's looked fantastic. He pulled off the upset against a bang out of form, probably an out of shape Matteo Berrettini. Then he ended up taking out Zhang, who's won like 2 games of tennis all year. So it's like I can't take anything from it. I can't read into it too much. Decent wins, decent on paper. It'll mean much more to him than what it does to me, that's for sure. The fact of the matter is Alexander Bublik's been one of the better players all season. He has. Maybe not all season, but for quite some time now. It was only up until US Open, we were saying this guy is the guy to beat. He was beating everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you've got. Doesn't matter. You're not going to beat this guy. I don't think Svrcina, even coming off back-to-back upsets, don't think he gets it done against this version of Alexander Bublik. I really don't. He's too much. He's too much for everyone apart from the best. He did get beat by Kwon in the Davis Cup. I'm willing to, he had to pull out of that one. So, completely disregard that. The only time he's been beat in the last 10, apart from that Davis Cup, was against Jannik Sinner in the US Open. And like I said, anyone like this, if he would have played Svrcina anywhere along the way prior to this point right now, you'd have taken him in a heartbeat. In an absolute heartbeat, you know it's right. 1.25, you're very lucky you can get him around 1.3. Alexander Bublik would be the one for me on that one. It's going to be Wu and Daniel Medvedev. Very impressed with Wu. Round of applause for Wu, everyone. He's hanging in there. He's hanging in, man. He really is. And I feel like the way he's playing at the moment kind of got me nervous to go against him. Kind of got me a little bit hesitant to go against him. I feel like he's just the type of player to deal a bit of trouble the way of Daniel Medvedev. Give Mannarino a decent run for his money. Took him out in 3. Easily could have lost that. We know how tricky Mannarino can be. And then the game against Sebastian Korda, it was a fantastic result. Wu just got better and better as the match got on. Although I was absolutely disgusted in Sebastian Korda today. That was just pathetic. It was just pathetic. I won't dwell on it too much. He looked flawless in the first set, and then, like the majority of them, the slightest sign of adversity, he went, you know what, I ain't gonna fight. I've got no fight. I've got no desire to fight for what I want. Absolutely not. I've already got too much in life. This means nothing to me. I don't know. Maybe it's neither here nor there. Sebastian Korda didn't want to be there. He was winning, and then as soon as he went, he was like, yep, check please, send me back home to Florida. I don't want to be here anymore. Fair play to Wu, because while Korda was getting worse as the match went on, Wu just got better and better, and then he looked unstoppable. Like I said, the writing was on the wall. The choke had been activated. Nothing you can do. Fair play to the kid. Fair play to the lad. You know, you've got to give it to him. Daniel Medvedev. Kind of disrespectful that a lot of people were taking the Shevchenko to beat Daniel Medvedev yesterday. I mean, even given the current form of Daniel Medvedev, I mean, it's Nisheshin, innit? It's Nisheshin. In hindsight, it probably felt rather foolish to believe that. I mean, 6-2, 6-3. Not surprised. Not surprised whatsoever. I do believe Wu is going to be able to give a bit more than the likes of Nishesh. Like I say, some people have just got a lot more fight than others. He's been good, man. And you know what? He seems to he's approached this tournament. He's got this never say die attitude. He really has. He's been really struggling with injuries and whatnot, struggling for fitness throughout the season. It seems like he wants it. He wants it. He's really got something to prove. 22-6 on the hard court this season. That's it. It's fantastic. That's fantastic. It's better than Daniel Medvedev. 13-9. 22-6 to 13-9. Are we going to trust in the home favourite once again? Because anyone who's playing any of these home favourites, you get no love. Bitch, you get no love, as the song goes. I'm not so sure that Daniel Medvedev's in the headspace at the moment. I mean, he hasn't been in the headspace all season for when things start going against him, especially that crowd and whatnot. If things get a little bit volatile, he could erupt. He could erupt and just kind of sabotage himself. It seems to be the Russian way in the professional game at the moment, doesn't it? I'd love to sit here and say take Wu on the spread. I'd probably love to have a little sprinkle on Wu on the spread. I don't think it's a bad shout whatsoever. Probably get around 3.5. Call it 3.5. I doubt it'll be 4. It's got to be 3. Do we think that's enough? Daniel Medvedev taking on 196 in the world. He shouldn't be losing. He certainly shouldn't be losing this. If you're going to turn up and take out Nishat, probably not even fair to compare to two. Comparing Wu to Nishesh, you probably can't. Complete contrast, completely different. The power discrepancy as well is the main thing. I mean, Wu smacks the shit out of that ball, don't he? That forehand from Wu, he just blasts the fuck out of that. It's really good. That's going to give you a tough time no matter who you are. I would always have to side with Daniel Medvedev, like I say, based on what I know. Maybe it's just going to be levels, like it always is. They've played each other twice before. Daniel Medvedev's won both. Fifth time was in the US Open 2022. And then most recently was not that long ago, a couple months ago, when we came back over in Washington, straight sets, 6-3, 6-2. Do we think the home advantage for Wu is going to make that much of a difference in this one today? If so, not only that, you believe in what you've seen, do you believe he's playing at a high enough level? Do you think he's being efficient enough to at least keep this one close, at least keep it within spread range? Then be my guest, you go for that. I can't look away from Daniel Medvedev. Can't get there, nowhere near. Can't get close to that number at 1.25. Absolutely not. I just don't believe Wu should be winning this match. I'm not against them winning it. 3.7, man, he's nearly a 3-1 dog. Some places he kind of is a 3-1 dog. Oh shit, he hasn't been that bad, has he? I don't think he hasn't been bad at all. I don't think he's played at a level to warrant a 3-1 underdog in this. I think that price is coming just from the past. It's a price from the past just because of the name of Medvedev. And let's be real, it's Daniel Medvedev. You kind of can't really have him any bigger than a 1.3 favourite, can you? It kind of feels wrong. I wouldn't be touching it. Absolutely not. There's remnants of the Rublev match in this. 1.25, that's like a say it in it. You'd look at that and go, oh, surely, you have to win this game. And then they don't. And then you feel absolutely fucking ill if you've taken it when they don't, and you go, oh my god, I could have took that 3-1 dog, and he's turned up and done him in straight sets. Who'd have thought? I don't know. It's just food for thought. Stranger things have happened. I think Wu stands a much better chance than the likes of Basilashvili. At the very least, I don't see why he couldn't keep it close. He's got something to fight for. He's fighting for his home. He's fighting for his crowd. He's playing for his people. There's a lot on the line other than just a game of tennis. I've won a match at tennis. If he can take out Medvedev, that would be a massive win, a huge victory for Wu. And then, look, if he takes out Medvedev as well, I mean, who's left? Look, if he takes out Medvedev, I mean, Mage could just go on and win it. What are we assuming Bublik's going to beat Svrcina? That's who he's going to have to play next, and I think, I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Medvedev or not, although I'm not picking it with a lot of conviction, if any, at all. Maybe lean towards a little over, lean towards the total games won. They played each other a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, and Medvedev just wiped the floor with him. So how much is going to change since Washington? I'm not too sure. Medvedev or nothing, but I'm not telling you to take him. So at 1.26, it's a bit of a price to pay for Medvedev to potentially ruin your day. Well, folks, that shall do us once again. Another day in the bag. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. You know that. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go, and I appreciate that too. Get yourself involved. Don't be shy. Let me know what you're going for. Anything I'm taking will be in that pinned comment. You should know that by now. Very well. Take it easy, yeah? You take care of yourselves. You take care of one another. It's the most important thing, is it not? And best of luck as well. Best of luck with your day, however you decide to go about your business. Enjoy the matches today, people, and I'll see you all tomorrow.